worldwide leader in sports, where we used to be colleagues. David Aldridge here on The Rich Eisen Show. How are you, David?
Richard, I'm fine. How are you, sir?
I am doing well, but not as well as the Spurs. I got to be honest with you. I mean, how many yachts can they water ski behind, right?
All right, Gordon Gekko.
You know what I mean? It's just so David West says, I'll take less money. Now, I know, with the tax issue and the fact that he doesn't have to pay state income tax in Dallas, it's not as large as the discrepancy as what he would have made in Indianapolis and what he's making in San Antonio. But this just shows that I guess he wants to win a title. Right, David?
I think when you walk away from $12 million and you sign for 1.4, your issue isn't money, clearly. David West said, he wanted to play for a contending team. I think everybody felt like there was only one team he was really looking at, and that was San Antonio. And he wanted to see, like everybody else, if they got LaMarcus Aldridge done. And once that got done, his decision was made. I mean, there were a couple other teams that were trying to talk to him, but I think that was the place he wanted to go. It seemed like that was the perfect fit for him. And, he made that happen very quickly. I mean, it did not take very long at all.
Now, it's vogue to bash the Lakers and Knicks these days. And the LaMarcus Aldridge pursuit by the Lakers, by all accounts, just reading about it, appears to be one of the worst free agent wooings in free agent history in any sport, David. Is that an accurate description or just vogue to use it?
I would say there's a little truth in both of those statements. I think it's very easy to kick the Lakers while they're down. They've been one of the marquee franchises in the league for the last 4 decades, and now that they're struggling, a lot of people like to take shots at them, just like a lot of people take shots at Kobe Bryant now that he's old. The same people that were sucking up to him when he was dominant and a great player now take shots at him. But I will say this. I think the Lakers did not have the right approach. Their approach was to make it more about, in the first meeting, I should say, with LaMarcus Aldridge, their approach was to make it more about marketing ideas and kind of selling the brand of LaMarcus Aldridge with the Lakers as opposed to what would actually happen on the floor, which is why they had to have another meeting with him to talk to him about what was going to happen to him on the floor, with him on the floor. It doesn't mean that the people that made those presentations did it badly or poorly. It's just that in comparison to all the other teams where they really made it basketball first, really basketball only, I just think the Lakers maybe made a mistake in how they could do it. And the reason, I know why they did it, because the basketball product's not as good as those other teams right now, not as compelling, not as promising. So you try to sell them on other things, but it just didn't work. And they're in the same boat with a lot of other teams that are bad, Rich. When you're bad, nobody wants to come play for you. It's not because Kobe takes a lot of shots or anything like that. Because they're a bad team.
Yeah, because that's what I said on yesterday's show, that it is vogue again to bash Kobe right now and say, well, nobody wants to play with him anymore. It seems to me that certainly with the David West signing just proves it, that in this day and age, with the way that the NBA is currently mapped out, not just financially and collectively bargained, but just the balance of power in the NBA, it's not with the Knicks and the Lakers right now. It's where players who want to go and win. And that's maybe why the Lakers and the Knicks have been shut out. What are your thoughts on that, David?
Look, nobody wants to be the first guy on the ground, okay? I mean, we go back and look at, I wrote about this yesterday on NBA.com in the morning tip. I mean, go back and look at the Bulls in '98 after they won their 6th and Jordan retired and Phil Jackson walked away or whatever happened with Phil Jackson. He decided he didn't want to coach there anymore. They had all these grandiose plans. They were going to sign Tracy McGrady. They were going to sign Grant Hill. They had all these draft picks. They were going to, draft all these great, impactful young players and build around these free agents and restore the dynasty. And none of that happened. And that was the Bulls, who were a very successful team, as successful as anybody had been over a 6-8 year stretch. And they couldn't get anybody to come there because they were a bad team. And that's the bottom line. And there's the same problem the Knicks had and the same problem that the Lakers are having now, is that, people do not want to go to bad teams. No good player, no great player is going to go there. And that's why the Lakers can't get anybody to commit right now. That's I really don't think it's anything more than that. I mean, I think that's the major reason. Everything else aside, it's the fact that they're a bad team in a conference where it's very hard to improve if you're bad because you're playing all these juggernaut teams. that just get stronger every year because, again, people want to play with good teams.
And I guess like, in that respect, the Cavs should be lucky that LeBron James was born in Ohio, so he goes back there. And now,
well, yes, exactly. As I pointed out yesterday, Cleveland should be very lucky that Savannah James wanted to go home.
yeah, and
they should consider themselves very fortunate because that's why he's there, in my opinion.
I love it, David. And now, obviously, Kevin Love, Mo Williams says he's staying. What's this situation with Joe Johnson perhaps being acquired by Cleveland? What can you tell me about that?
I'm not sure that that's going to happen. I think there's only so much money anybody's willing to spend in 1 year, and if Dan Gilbert's on the hook for $110 million already for Love, and they're working out a deal with Tristan Thompson that's going to be, another $80 million or so. LeBron's not going to come cheap, even if it's for 1 year. And you can't keep asking, well, take on this extra $20 million. That's another $40 million in taxes. So I don't think that's going to happen. But I think the Nets are trying to trade both Joe Johnson and Deron Williams, and it's not quite as palatable for other teams to take that money in right now than it may have been a couple of years ago, but they could still find a trade partner at some point before the summer's over.
So I'm on the phone with David Aldridge, Turner Sports, NBA TV, NBA.com here on the program. So who are the big names that are still out there in free agency right now?
We're kind of on I hate to say B list because it makes people feel bad about themselves. But
second wave.
There's still guys like Amari Stoudemire is still out there. He's not. He hasn't signed yet, and he may re-sign in Dallas. But there's the Clippers are a team that would certainly be looking at him. A guy like Andrea Bargnani would be kind of interesting to see where he winds up. He does not have the career that I think people and he expected or hoped he would have, but he still was a first overall pick in the draft in 2006, and he's out there as a free agent, somebody that might have some interest. But you are talking more now about the kind of B-listers, people that are good players. Wes Johnson from the Lakers is a guy that may generate some interest before the summer's over. Carlos Boozer's still out there. There's still some guys out there, but you're not looking at the kind of high-level guys that we all saw in the first week.
And lastly, David, what do you make of the president of the Bucks telling lawmakers in Wisconsin yesterday that they need to break ground on a new arena that requires the lawmakers to chip in $250 million? Otherwise, the NBA is going to sell the team, and somebody's going to move it to either Vegas or Seattle. What do you make of that, David?
I make of it. He played the nuclear winter card, because they've stumbled to get the legislature to kind of approve these different funding mechanisms that they've tried to come up with. They've gone through the governor, and they didn't really like that one either, so they've come up with this new idea now. And the league, if the league doesn't feel that there is a plan in place, they can buy the team back from the Bucks' current owners and resell the team. And obviously, when you do that, you bring into play people from out of town who might want to buy the team with the intention of moving it because the team's lease at Bradley Center is up in 2017. So they're playing. They're saying either or else. If you don't help us, this team's going to probably move. And that's kind of the last card to play for when a franchise hasn't gotten the public funding that it needs or wants to get a new building. And there are both Democrats and Republicans, from what I understand, in the Wisconsin state legislature who are just adamant against this public funding mechanism that they've come up with for different reasons. But the bottom line is a lot of people in the legislature are against it, and enough of them are against it to put the potential of it getting done in jeopardy.
David, I appreciate the time as always. I look forward to the next time already.
Rich, always a pleasure, sir. Good talking to you.
Right back at you. That's David Aldridge at DAldridgeTNT on Twitter.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.